Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our guests here today joining us, our business counselors at ACE Coaching Company, and well, so much more than that. Dina Redinger, Sharon Weinstein, both joining us here today, and we are excited to have them back to talk more, obviously, about healthcare to start the big book, the release, the schedule, the tour, you name it. They're here today to talk more. Welcome back. How are you, ladies?
Great. So nice to be here.
Yes, thank you very much for having us back. We're excited.
Yeah,
we're excited.
Good. Well, first and foremost, tell us a little overview about, healing healthcare and who you are, and we'll dive into that question until we get started.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I'll start and then I'm going to hand it over to you, Sharon, talk a little bit more about this inspiration that we had before we wrote this book. So,
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Dina Redinger here with ACE Coaching Company. Sharon and I connected when we were serving Healthcare Businesswomen's Association on a very large opportunity to coach a very large company going through mergers and acquisitions, trying to create collaboration and found a really frustration, nut with being able to have good communication and cross collaboration. And Sharon and I just found ourselves just really entrenched in how we think because we think a lot alike. So that's what tied us together. So I have a healthcare background, 10 years, and then I was 25 years in pharmaceuticals, stepped out and created a coaching company for companies that are in transition because I went through so many. And the people is the main piece that everybody forgets, because when you do any sort of merger acquisition and you're doing the due diligence, the people part gets kind of, not really tossed aside. It just takes so much more and someone else to keep an eye on it. So that's what I love doing. And then obviously met Sharon during the pandemic. So Sharon, over to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I started out with a nursing background and then transitioned into more global work, did a lot of work in the intravenous pharmacology space, but in multiple countries, and then took a job with a major hospital alliance, creating the Office of International Affairs for thousands of U.S. hospitals and partnering them with their counterparts abroad. That brought me more into the global space than I had ever been before, but really allowed me to understand the concept of healthcare and how for all of us, regardless of where we live and where we work, we are all in the same business, and that business is one of caring. So if it's okay with you, Jill, I'd like to talk about this word healthcare and then let Dina go back to how we got to the book.
Perfect. Yeah. What is the definition?
Yeah. Healthcare. What is it? When I say healthcare, or when Dina says healthcare, what does that mean to our listeners? What does that mean to you? Where is healthcare provided? Is it at a clinic? Is it a doctor's office? Is it a physician practice, a joint practice, an academic medical center? Does it mean that I have to be in the hospital? Or does it mean that I might also be in long-term care, in some other form of care, perhaps receiving home care, perhaps receiving physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language therapy? There are so many ways in which we deliver care. But the the core that holds us together is that concept of care. And it is that caring that Dina and I first noticed as a major principle in the Nurse Leader Listening Tour that we convened that allowed us to really think about and take this concept further into how do we heal what we know to be healthcare. Dina, do you want to take us into that?
I do. And we want to just shout out to everybody. Healthcare has been broken for a while. The pandemic just made it worse, right? So what we realized is that over, millions of nurses are leaving. They're leaving in droves after that. We have a new cohort that's coming in right now. But if we don't have a transfer of knowledge and we don't capture that, we lose a lot of healthcare's value. And you really see that if you are a patient yourself, or if you're a caregiver and you're going in the hospital, you can really see what's happening. So when Sharon and I wanted to get out there and start interviewing nurses, and what we found is these common themes, who needs to know all of the things that they shared with us. We're like, oh my gosh, we have to capture this in a book. So we said, we got to make this healing healthcare. So it's really who needs to know. It's healthcare professionals, it's patients and caregivers, it's policymakers, it's health educators and advocates. So back to who needs the book and why is this so important? So that's how we decided to capture it, and it's evidence-based to nurses, to doctors, to healthcare. When you say something's evidence-based, what does that really mean? It means that it's been tried, it's been tested, and it works.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what brings this book into the forefront of everybody in healthcare, is that we have the answers. So over to you, Sharon, or, if you got any questions or thoughts on that, Jill, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, so would I.
You'd ever been inside a hospital and you had a friend or a family member and have experienced the healthcare being broken.
Oh, yes. My mother was dealing with cancer. And, unfortunately, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but like I felt that we never were able to get the real answers we needed. There was never enough time. We had to
Mhm.
go to the patient advocacy center, which was where I learned there's such thing as patient advocates at a hospital, which is amazing. But
Right.
we really feel let down because if we would have known something earlier that the
Mhm.
doctor forgot to leave out, like, hey, maybe we should have radiated your brain as a precautionary measure so that lung cancer doesn't travel to the brain, because that's always what happens. And most doctors do that. We would have taken that advantage. We didn't
Mhm.
know until after it went to her brain. It was, oh, yeah, that usually happens. And it's like, wait,
Right.
that's a
Afterthought.
huge, that could
Yeah.
have given her another few months, could have, maybe
Yeah.
not, I don't know. But they, if other doctors are pro radiating the
Yeah.
brain, and I was just like, that was just so, that's something they should have told us. And then once I told him that, oh, he's like, oh, yeah, we should have. And the doctor actually said it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why wasn't I, told this option? So talk about feeling let down, upset, hurt, that mom could have been here a little longer, right? It
Right.
wasn't going to change the full outcome, but it would have given us something. So feeling let down,
Right.
my family and I felt very let down, for
Mhm.
obviously, but and there's
Yes.
other examples too in my life, and I'm sure we all have something where we feel
We
let
do.
down. But
Yeah.
go
Yes.
ahead, go ahead. Thank you for
I think the
asking.
patients everywhere across the globe experience that. And
Yeah.
it's not just the
Mhm.
advocate within the hospital or the nurse navigator within the hospital that can help that family move through the system and
Right.
understand what the options are. But also, unfortunately, the patient needs to bring their own advocate to the hospital. Somebody has to be there to watch out, to
Right.
listen. When the
Yeah.
patient's asleep or when the patient is resting from a procedure, somebody needs to be
Right.
awake, alert, and
Right.
listening to what's happening
Right.
so that they can make informed decisions. We
Right.
can't make those decisions
Right.
that sometimes lead to life or death if we
Yeah.
don't know what's happening.
Yep. One of the things that I found, I had to help my father get through sepsis last year, and it was daunting. I mean, absolutely daunting. It was one thing, it started with one thing and led to another thing and another thing. And healthcare, it's like a puzzle. You've got the doctor for this, the doctor for this, the doctor for this, the doctor for this. This connection and this collaboration is very challenging with the amount of work that they have to do and the pace that they have to go at today, just trying to, create more revenue for a hospital, and taking care of things. And what we find is that, nurses are the backbone of healthcare, and nobody's listening to them. And if they can absolutely use the strategies that we have in this book and step into change, but make sure and step into things that you want to change and that you see needs changing, it's going to give them the confidence to do that. But taking care of a family member and understanding that you are the person that has to put pieces together. The epic that they have and that they go into, that it is the electronic medical records. They may have certain things, but then doctors are so busy they don't even get a chance to sometimes even talk to each other, and you have to remind them, of what was said last. One of the things that I found being a patient most recently myself, the biggest thing that made a change for me is that they did not grand rounds, shift change nurses in front of you. So the nurse that was your nurse at that period of time and the nurse that's going to come take her place, they come in and give reports.
That
So
was their
I'm
huddle.
listening to the
Mm-hmm.
report, right? So you're there, you're the patient, you're listening to the report, and I can say, look, you left this out and you left this out and you left this out. So I just want to make sure you guys have a clear understanding what's left out. It's amazing during that transition how many things are left out. So, for health systems who don't do shift change in front of the patient, in front of with patient with people that are there caring for them, it's a missed opportunity because we really do listen deeply to
It
what's
is.
going
It
to be
is.
happening to us. Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Well, and not all patients are able to listen and respond the way that
Right.
you did. So, what about those who can't
You
care for
can.
themselves? I think that it's really important that healing healthcare, evidence based strategies to mend our broken system is about transformative change. And it
Yes.
really starts with patient centered care. And
Mhm.
that's the approach to healthcare
Right.
that truly prioritizes the needs, the preferences, the values, the involvement of the patient in the decision-making process. And instead of treating the patient as a passive recipient of care, patient-centered care views them as the active participant, ensuring that their voice is heard, that it's integral to their treatment and care plans. And the key elements are things like personalized care, collaboration, respect for patient values, a holistic approach, and the knowledge that within the book, we have vetted examples of how that works, how it plays out, that we're so proud of.
Yes.
Back to you, Jill.
Well, thank you for sharing this. At this time, we just need to remind everyone how we can reach out to you. Tell us all the forms of contact, how we could find you, and a little bit about that, if you don't mind. It's kind of our commercial break section.
Sure.
You go ahead, Sharon.
Sure. I'm Sharon Weinstein. I'm based in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And by the way, we are having a launch here, a live launch on November the 14th at Seva Spaces in Vienna, Virginia. We'll be sure to make sure that everybody knows about that. It is open, it is available to you, and we'd love to hear from you. If you're one who's in this area or who will be in the area that day on November 14th, and you want a voice and you want to be heard, we are inviting healthcare leaders from the region to speak up and speak out. As a matter of fact, the chief nurse from ARP is going to be speaking out that we're really excited about. So I'm based in the DMV area. My email is Sharon at S like Sharon, M like Mary, W like Weinstein, SMW Group, LLC.com. I look forward to hearing from all of you. Dina?
Yeah, so Dina Redinger, I am sorry, I'm coughing because of all of the
It's
allergies.
okay. We
So
all
please
gotten,
forgive me if I rocked the show here. But I'm Dina Redinger. I live in Springfield, Missouri. I have A's Coaching Company. So it is, you can look it up just like that, A's Coaching Company. We have all of our books. There is bios on Sharon and I. We also have links to her courses there as well. We have our books where you can order, but we want to let everybody know we're doing the tour. So we're there in St. Louis, October 17th through the 18th. We're in Ohio, October the 23rd through the 25th. We're at the Magnet Nurse Conference in New Orleans, October 30th through that November 2nd. November 6th, we're at Rush, and then Sharon just talked about our big launch where she's at there November 14th. So, we want everyone to join us and know how to order this book, Healing Healthcare.
Beautiful. And I'm sorry, but I still don't have the email from you. So we're just going to wing it. I'm going to ask what you want to talk about next.
Okay. I want to talk about a call to action. I think that's really important.
Yes.
What can listeners do? People are listening to this podcast today. You'll be listening to the recording. What can you do to help elevate the book, the experience, and the knowledge for those within your community? So we encourage you to get involved through advocacy, through education at your own level, or simply staying informed. It's your responsibility to know what's happening with your own health. We, through the book and through our 26 amazing contributing authors, have the evidence. We have the vetted solutions. We encourage you to get a copy of that book, which will be available, although it's available for early order now. The actual live date is October 22nd, and that is only 22 days away. That's nothing. Get online now at healbrokenhealthcare.com and pre-order your own copy.
Yes.
Then read one chapter, one section. They're not long reads. They're no more than 6 to 7 pages each. Read one chapter, take that idea and adopt it within your work setting.
There's one thing that I want to add to that, Sharon. You can order it as a healthcare, but if you're a human being at all and you have somebody in healthcare or yourself is dealing with healthcare, order the book yourself and give it to the physician that you see that day. Ask them, give it to them as a gift. Give them something that they can actually read, something that's going to make a difference.
And you and I have done that, Dina.
That's what I did.
You've given it to multiple clinicians. Your doctor posted a picture of himself reading the book.
Oh, really?
One of my doctors invited me to do grand rounds for the hospital team. So doctors need to know as well. They don't know, and they want to know what is happening and what has been vetted, what has been proven to work.
Right.
Because better health care results in better care for all of us.
Yeah.
We're in this together.
It is so true. You're right. And, the lack of So much. You've taught me a lot, right? I don't work in healthcare. I get to talk to amazing people like you who are very experienced, and it's just amazing that there's so much that needs to be changed, so needs to be done. And I know that kind of goes to like the higher level, right? Because we need to make changes. You need to,
Right, right,
work with those policymakers in a
right,
sense to start changing these things. And that's
right.
a daunting task, but you
It
guys have
is.
really started to make some great headway here.
We are.
We
We're
hope
really
so.
excited as we go through this tour. One of the things that we're looking to look for is those connections and those relationships with people who really want to make a difference. And we are so passionate about being the change that's been missing for a long time. But it's nice, like we always say this. I mean, it's just the evidence says this works. We just can't stress it
Exactly.
enough. So if we can get enough people around us and go on this journey with us, then
We
we
can
can be
spread
the
the word.
policymakers. We
Yeah,
can make advocates for the change that's needed today. Because you know what, folks, if we don't do this, well, there will be nobody to take care of us. No one's going to
exactly.
know how to put on a PCA pump whenever you need pain relief. No one's going to know how to put on a drip, a blood drip. Those are things that I ran into when I was in the hospital. Nurses were so new; they didn't know how to do a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we have to get with the program and jump in and be the change. So
Right. And you mentioned policymakers, but Dina and I want to get in front of
Yeah.
local talk show hosts, those folks who
Hmm.
are writers and
mhm,
advocates for health and well-being in all of the
right,
local media, radio, newspaper, magazine, and more. We want to get out there to spread the word. We want to share the word
right,
so that others will at least be aware. A lack
mhm,
of
Yeah.
awareness
yeah,
leads only to inappropriate care. Let's increase awareness and shift that paradigm.
Beautiful. And did you want to discuss more a little bit about, the advocation for, for this and the health educators? Yeah, would you mind sharing a little more on that?
yeah. One of the things that we have, really feel like there's an opportunity. Health educators obviously are the educators of nursing and all the healthcare professionals. What we really, I think, I'm missing is that we have a process called design thinking. So this design thinking, diagnostic design thinking, is a process that I created in 2016 and found that we're all solving the wrong problem at the wrong time because we can't see through our subconscious. Our subconscious tells us this is
Mhm.
the right problem to solve. And then we use that past subconscious success, we
Yep.
apply it to the problem today and we find, oh, well, that didn't work so well. So what we need is to put people together to solve
Yeah.
real world problems, right? And if it comes from the people that are either going through school, people that are new to leadership, maybe they're new nurses to their job, maybe they're the new nurse leader, maybe they're the nurse leader that's getting ready to exit because she's done. This transfer of knowledge is so important and so powerful, but we can't do it on our own because we're under so much duress and stress every day.
Right. And that is really what brought Dina and I together.
Yeah.
I
Oh, yeah,
never
that's right.
realized that I'd been thinking differently since childhood about how I approach things, and
Mm-hmm.
that I did challenge limiting beliefs, and that I did, achieve success in terms of change. And it wasn't until Dina put the label on this that I realized that that's what I've been doing my entire life. So by sharing that with others, we've just completed a huge group with new nurses. We've completed another group with an academic institution last year. We have a new one that's starting up on November the 6th in our spare time, or November 7th, the same day right after our Chicago
Yeah,
launch. But we're doing this because people need to know that if you ask the right questions, you solve the right problem, you get the right answers, and things work. That's the secret to career acceleration.
it truly is.
That's the secret to advancement within your
Mhm.
organization.
Right. So
That's
Yeah.
you
the secret to getting things done.
exactly. So Jill, if you take that kind of process that we know that we all have these kind of limiting beliefs or the subconscious, because your subconscious is formed by things you experienced within your childhood, but you can't see them. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're going in with a problem. You're thinking, I can apply this. This will be just fine. I'm good on my own. Um, I hate to say that, but life is never meant to be done alone because you
Alone.
can surround yourself with people that are caring and loving and don't judge you, don't shame you for how you think. It's just you are, and they can be honest, right? And can ask
Yeah.
non-leading questions to help you see what you can't see. That's the problem we have with leadership in healthcare. They can't see it
See
because
it.
push
It's,
for
yeah,
a number, right?
Exactly.
it's
They're
not
pushing for a number.
tangible in a sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes.
in your
And if
hands.
it
Yep.
And to
doesn't
take
have a
it a,
number, go ahead.
to take it a step further, Dina, that's what separates the Lone Ranger from the Brady Bunch. You either go it alone or you do it as a team.
Yeah.
And it is that team, it is that effort that allows people to really get to that root cause of what it is that's holding them back.
Right. So what
Wow.
it creates a lot of career acceleration for a lot of people who are just starting their career. It helps leaders to see what they can't see on their own because they're so busy with everything that they have to do, but allows people to have confidence in themselves so that they're working on the right problem at the right time. So that's the reason why when we wrote the book, it's already been vetted. They're solving the right problem at the right time. And here's the strategies that came out of that are proven for success. So what we did is we chose healthcare because that is the biggest place where we feel we can make the biggest difference for, the world as a whole, because it's a global problem. We can just apply it. You can apply it anywhere.
And
How
I'd
does,
like to encourage folks also, excuse me, Jill, to visit thinkdifferentlybydesign.com for more
Thank you.
information about the process and what's next, how you can learn more about these steps that need to be taken, how you can enroll for a retreat or schedule something for your own organization. It's thinkdifferentlybydesign.com.
now, I just got to ask the two of you, when did the two of you start working on this venture together? It's got to be bittersweet. Like, how long has it taken since the two of you sat down to discuss this process of writing the book? And now here it is in fruition, and it's, we're full forward ahead. How long ago was that?
What's so funny, I can't even remember. I think we started with Think Differently. So the book Think Differently is
Came out in 22.
Okay.
It looks like this. I mean, you probably can't see it. This is it. 18 strategies to fix broken thinking. So we got done with this book. We started doing our nurse tour. And then we just started asking the questions and we're like, oh my gosh, we've got to do something with this. So
Yeah.
Sharon is a master of writing. It is
Aw.
in her blood. She loves it. So she said, let's just get on it. So, a lot of sweat, equity, and love from Sharon's expertise went into that book too. And I want to give all credit to her. We wrote the book based on all the things that we started to learn and then reaching out to the people who had the answers and asked them, would you join us on this journey? And when 26 authors said yes, it's like, okay, well, you know what? We do have the answers.
Yeah,
We really
yeah.
do
we were
have
onto
the
something.
answers.
It was
Oh,
definitely a collaboration, a labor of love that we could not have done with all of the contributing authors, each of whom contributed to a single section, either on well-being, on the workforce, or on the wisdom. And then we thank Christy Dempsey for rolling the three of them together into a 360-degree review that really closes that gap.
yeah.
She nailed it.
She did.
Well, thank you again for being here. Excited. Tell us again the timeline of events so we all know again.
Yeah, I'll review those for you guys real
Sure.
fast again. So let me go on here. So we're going to be in St. Louis October the 17th and 18th. We're going to be in Ohio October 23rd through the 25th.
Okay.
At the Nursing Magnet Conference, which is huge. That's going to be October
Yay.
30th
Huge
through
means
November 1st.
18,000 participants.
Wow.
That's huge.
Okay. That is pretty big. Yeah.
November 6th is Chicago, and then November 14th is the actual big launch there in Virginia. So we are on the tour. We're getting ready to go. So we're excited to, see everybody. We want people to just, if you do anything, just buy the book and gift it to somebody in healthcare. That's the best thing everybody can do right now because they just don't know about the book.
Beautiful.
Exactly.
Holidays are here. Exciting. Thank you, ladies, so much for being here, for joining us. Always a great show. Always great to have you
Thank you
here.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Feel
And
good to see you again.
you too. Have a
Thanks, Jill.
fantastic day, and we'll be in touch again
Have a
next
healthy day. Take
You
care.
too. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.